Vacation, Laurie Kilmartin.
3 different cities, Laurie.
Oh my
I'm in
God.
your old stomping grounds,
I know.
San
What club
Francisco.
were you at?
We did the Palace of the Fine Arts with Maria
Ah, nice.
and our comic of the week. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Very, yeah, very, very fun for Sketchfest. And then are you in Paris, Texas?
Yeah, I mean, you want to finish and then I can unload?
Sure. I went to Salt Lake City and to do this sort of private
Oh,
thing
yeah.
at Sundance.
Hmm.
And so I flew into Salt Lake City, got a rental car, and drove up the mountain to Park City. Luckily, no weather, all was good. Um, the light crowds, like one night, the whole week is different comics.
Yeah.
It paid okay, but it's different comics to pay back the pharaoh level at the Egyptian theater, the contributors to the Egyptian theater at this place in Park City. Um, and so the first show had like 11 people, and the second show had like 16.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. That's
yeah,
so
and
weird.
I know, and I did my hour. Um, the second show, hilariously, was so casual that at one point, this woman was asking me about if I owned a house in Los Angeles, and I said, "Hey, have you heard Maria Bamford's joke about home ownership?" And I almost did it, and then I remembered that's not how stand-up comedy works. You, you don't just go, "I don't know. Did you hear this new joke that
Jackie,
Paula Poundstone's doing?" It's
you're
weird.
you're crediting the author and you're doing a little promo for Maria. I don't know. What is stand-up comedy anymore?
Right, right. And so I flew up there on Tuesday, flew home on Wednesday, wait, Thursday, was home for a day and a half. And
Hmm.
then yesterday morning, or this morning is Saturday, actually, we're recording this. I flew up here to the Bay Area. Oh, but I was in the Delta Sky Club coming home from Salt Lake City, and
Uh-huh.
there was a guy next to me, and he was talking. I was talking about being in Park City. I was on the phone, and when I hung up, he was like, "Were you at Sundance?" And I said, "Not really." And so um,
I thought you were a player,
I
Jackie. You're in the Delta Lounge and you're talking about Park City.
yeah, about talking about Sundance, and I said Jason, and he had won a contest. A script writing contest, and the first prize was a trip to Sundance to meet people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so he was like, I said, well, he lived here in San Francisco, and I said, well, I'm going to be there, and then I'm also going to be in Sunnyvale, Rooster Teeth Feathers, next weekend. And he lives closer to Sunnyvale, but he was like, oh, you're at the Palace of the Fine Arts with Maria? I'll go to that. And so he literally bought the last ticket.
Oh, nice.
And I was just talking to, Laura Vogel, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Pierre, there you go. She just ran into him at some party here.
Wow,
I
Jackie.
was like, well, 8
You
billion people on the planet.
you've connected with a player. That's so unlike
Yeah.
you.
His name's Steve. It could not have been, it could not have been more
Not enough Steves in the world.
unlike me. Not enough. Not enough. And, yeah, so tonight, essentially, got here around 1 o'clock, went to lunch hung out with, came out of the elevator, and there was Ophira Eisenberg
Oh,
and Laura
hello.
Vogel, and
Okay.
I was gonna meet Joel Johnson and Maria for lunch,
Oh my gosh.
and she brought a friend, and then, she brought a friend. She brought 2 friends. Joelle brought 2 friends. A guy named Josh Johnson, and then I didn't
Oh,
sit next to the.
I know Josh. I did
You don't.
the
Okay.
Montreal, I mean not the Toronto JFL week with him. He
Yeah.
is so funny and he is killing it.
He ordered 2 lunches, so his metabolism is amazing. He ate so much food. I was like, "Are you 18? Not 17?
He
Because you have a
has
hollow leg." He's like, "I'm 33." So,
he popped off on social media. He popped off. I think because I was just looking at his dates. I'm like, my God. And I think he had 40 million views on a Comedy Central clip or something crazy.
oh
So
wow.
yeah, he's doing really really well and just total hustle. Is he still writing for the Daily Show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
That's what he said, that was
Wow.
his day job. I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, that's a pretty sweet day job, brother." And so um yeah. So other than that, I've had there was some sort of huge problem with I guess all the Comedy Central albums got taken off of the streaming services for a while.
Okay.
And
Are you typing into the chat or are you doing other work
yeah, I
while you're
was no
podcasting?
no, I was gonna say that it's this these people's fault because they don't
Oh
they
no.
yeah, there's
Uh-oh.
just well, just because it was more work than what they thought to have so many and so they're fixing it, but it was I guess it was a mess for a little bit, and they're course correcting, but um yeah. And then the other thing that happened is somebody told me
Do musicians
that
go through this much bullshit about getting their music up? It seems like comics, we get on, we get yanked off. You know,
I
they
think
haven't
it's the
figured these
same.
industries out yet.
No, I think it's the same. I think it's the same thing with music as it is with stand up for
Based on
sure.
what, Jackie?
Speculation without
Okay.
any sort of actual information. Yeah, you're
All
right.
right.
You're not wrong to doubt it. But I bet you their lives are. I always feel sorry for musicians because they all have to live together in that van, and that's
Yes,
how
it's
I picture
true.
them. Scooby Doo gang.
But you know what? They do get to they get to travel everywhere because music is universal, even if it's in English, and we're limited to English speaking audiences. So we get that one
Well,
gig in Berlin or whatever. But you know, they I think they get to if you. That's why I get angry when comedians can sing. I'm like, you bet on this horse when you can sing. Why aren't you fronting a band and working in
yeah.
Japan 6 weeks a year?
Josh Johnson did his he said his new album it's stand up and then interluded are songs that he's written. And I
God
don't know if they're comedy
damn.
songs or if it's what I don't know. He
I
seems gifted.
imagine. Yes.
He
Yes,
seems
yes.
like a
Yes.
very talented young man. And yeah. So how's your week?
Oh, Jackie. All right.
Yeah.
So,
I've seen the clips on
Jackie.
Instagram, but it looked better than it possibly might have been.
Well, all right. So I fly to Dallas, right? And I land in Dallas. All is well. I go to the rental car line. It's massive. It's curling, it's snaking, it's massive, the rental car line. And I
That's the
got in around
worst.
4 and the show's at 7. So I want to rent this car and drive to the hotel, shower, and go to this show, right? And it's just a little pop-up show. Jasmine Ellis hooked me up with Paulos, this guy Paulos down here in Dallas, and we did a little show in the little like the Yoo-Hoo version of Dallas Comedy Club. You know, people showed up. It was fun, right? But so I'm standing in line. It's moving so slowly, and then I get a text. My hotel reservation has been canceled because they're renovating. I don't know. It's just some horseshit. I wonder if you make a reservation on booking.com, which is what I've been doing when I'm just coming up with it myself. Does
Yeah.
the hotel get less money? Because they already tell you don't get the points if you use a third party. And so maybe
Mm-hmm.
the hotel has enough people calling and making their own reservations. They're like, let's just cancel these booking.com assholes and make a little
Maybe,
more money. I don't know.
maybe,
So
possibly.
I did have to make another reservation in line. It was just a little bit of an extra panic while I'm waiting, hoping there's a car. There's a car. It's fine. I was just exhausted. Then I get to the show. It's fun. We do a show, and then the booker at Paris was a little annoyed that I did a show, and I'm like, don't worry, I didn't make much money. Okay.
And how far is Paris from Dallas?
2 hours.
Oh yeah, there's no overlap. It's fine.
There's nobody at that Dallas show was. I don't think they've ever even left Dallas. There's no way they're going to Paris to see me. So, and then the next day, I'm in Lafayette, Louisiana, which is at least a 6.5 hour drive.
Oh my
Now,
God.
all three of the possible ways to get there have flood warnings. So I've never
Wow.
driven through a flood. And then I'm like, this is not my weather. What if there's a tornado or a hurricane? I don't know what to do. I wasn't raised here. I'll probably drive right through it and electrocute myself to death, right? Um,
That's actually okay.
but that was without event. I got to the gig and got to the hotel. It was a nice hotel. It was a DoubleTree. It's very nice. There's also a comedy club in the DoubleTree, Lafayette Comedy Club.
Oh
However,
wow.
the guys that own that produced the show at the theater that I did, so they do both, right? And
Okay.
so do the theater show. It's a lot of fun. It's an older crowd, but they're fun. And then went back to the hotel, did a podcast for the Lafayette Comedy guys, and then went to my room. Then I wake up. For some reason, I thought Paris was like a 2 hour drive. It's not from Lafayette. It's another 6.5 hour drive. Also, flood warnings on all the the ways to get there. So
Right.
I
It's
just took
wow.
I took the flood warning that was like in the smallest font. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
flood warnings were like bold. So I took the smallest one. And then I got here and I was exhausted. I'm like, this is like my 20s. This is triple run shit, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
so got here on Friday afternoon, like around 5 o'clock. First show's at 7:30, second show's at 9:30. So the room, it's fun. It's a road
Yeah.
room. It's a
Oh
road
yeah.
room. Um, I can't emphasize
Which
enough.
means what? Like, is it like crowd control and you're shutting them down? That kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a road room, Jack. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I,
And I
I do.
I, I
I do.
I'm not insulting. I just come off the
No.
theater, beautiful. Love
It's
a road
it's
room.
what it
I'm a
is.
comic.
What it
I'm a
is.
comic.
That's
Put
it.
me up. I do my job, right? So
Right.
the 7:30 show killed, right? Did a ton of crowd work. It was just you're in a small town and they want to talk. They're
Yeah.
like, you're a comedian. What are you doing here? Like, no one can. I can't believe I'm here. They can't believe I'm here. So, I get some material in, and then I start talking to them. 7:30 show done, fine. I go back to the green room / office. It's one of the. This is what I mean by road room. It's a green room / office. You remember those rooms, right?
Oh yeah. Hello, 1993.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So I'm sitting back there, and then the 9:30 show starts. Uh, Different comics go up on stage in front of me, and then I get up there, and I'm getting a little sense of deja vu. Well, the entire front row had stayed from the 7:30 show. I'm talking all the people around me stayed. And to fuck things up, a couple of them switched chairs. So I'm like, you look like a woman who was sitting here over there 2 hours ago. Oh, fuck, you're that woman. It was crazy
Oh.
because I kept discovering that people had stayed over and just like moved to different seats and stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
What?
and then there were a few
What?
people behind them that had just come for the 9:30 show. So I did this sort of mix of a ton of crowd work and
Right?
exclaiming my extreme displeasure that they at least sat in the front again. But
It,
and then I did some jokes I hadn't done before, some older chunks, and then it was fine. It was fine, but it was just like, what on
yeah.
earth? I've never had this many
That's
people stay over.
That's spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
then
so,
went back to the hotel, and then all day today today at 1 o'clock, all I had to do today, I didn't have a show tonight. I had a one
oh,
o'clock Q&A with all the comics that had come from all over the place to do this festival. And
okay.
and that was over, and then there wasn't enough time for me to drive to Dallas to fly out tonight. So I just so then I came back here, and I worked out, first workout in 3 days, and then I went back tonight because Francisco Ramos was doing the same exact two shows I was. And so
Okay.
same thing with him, same crowd, stayed for both shows. And
Uh,
so he knew in advance, and I kind of prepped differently.
yeah.
So I watched a little bit of
You
him.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was great. And then I went back here because I brought my heating pad. I'm just sitting on my heating
Mm-hmm.
pad right now. I have a new, you know, now I'm really getting into I got these great slippers, my UGG slippers. My feet will never touch a hotel carpet ever again, not with these UGG slippers. Got my heating pad, and I got my little
Right.
collapsible tea kettle recommended by Christella, and I'm
Oh,
making
yeah.
hot chocolate and Starbucks coffees. You know, those little, I don't like Starbucks coffees, but the little packets that you can take on the
The
road,
instant coffees.
primo, primo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Darla likes those. They're not for
yeah.
me. Yeah.
So
That's
so
good though.
tomorrow, I have a 4 p.m. flight out through Austin. I have to drive 2 hours to get there and to the Dallas airport. It's gonna be a long day tomorrow. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
right.
So Karen Rontowski and Augie Smith both did the gig that I did in Park City.
I saw Augie Instagramming about it.
Oh, I missed that. He did text me and ask me how it was, and I told him how to park, but then I didn't have to because he was driving with Keith, and I wasn't driving with
Oh,
Keith. I rented a Toyota Camry, which is like driving a stick of butter, a giant stick of butter. It's the
what's that?
smoothest
What's that
ride,
mean? Oh, nice.
smooth, smooth, and there was no weather, so that was kind of exciting.
Hmm.
Um, And then Karen did a gig for Keith the night before in Sun Valley, Idaho. And that was, I think that was a townie bar.
Now, does
And
he
then
know she's a female?
he knows that we're both women. Yes.
Oh, and he
He
booked you
is,
anyway? That's cool. That's great.
yeah. It's not Keith Stubbs, it's Keith Barrity. It's,
Oh,
yeah.
wait. All
Um,
right. I
yeah.
insulted the wrong Keith. I apologize, Keith.
And yeah, Keith Barrity books a lot of sort of country club, semi-privatey, corporatey things,
Hmm.
and a pile of synagogues, I think. And they they didn't the last time I worked for him was probably a dozen years ago, and they all paid the same amount of money, and now they all pay like triple that. So he's built it up. I mean, it was this, and now it's this. And in both cases, you get hotel but no air.
Oh, oh, no air. Well, Salt Lake's
Yeah,
not too bad of a.
right. If it's
Why
close, it's
can't
not a
they?
problem.
Why can't they just minus 300 or 400 and just go? It's this amount plus air. Why do they?
Right. Well, then,
I
right,
don't get
because
it.
then you're like, well, I guess then I'll make $2,000. Thank you very much,
Oh, you let
and
the number
then
out of the
it'll be
bag.
whatever it is.
Okay,
That's fine. I'm
I'm
working with
laying
Maria.
down.
It's all about transparency. So,
Yeah.
but um, yeah, but Karen said it was really great. She had a really good time. I did have a really good time with these two very small audiences.
Sure,
And
they can be great.
yeah. And I'm not great at altitude, so there was a boost. Keith Verity got super like scared during the first show. He was like, "You're not using the oxygen right. You have to. It's not like you're smoking pot. You have to actually hold it in." And he said, or it's not like you're smoking a cigarette, it's like you're smoking pot or something. Whatever the analogy was,
Wow,
I was doing it wrong.
and you're
It's been
still
a
doing
long
it
time
wrong.
since I've done drugs. So, and then Augie was, I bet you Augie had a great set. Um, and then, yeah, so it's nice to come here. That's kind of cool. Andy, was COVID free as of yesterday.
Yay.
Tested, yep. And that was great. And then my flight is at 8:30 tomorrow morning to LAX because it
Oh,
was a lot.
so what time do you have to wake up to drive there? Oh wait, no, you're in San Francisco. Never mind.
Yeah, San Francisco. So it's a 6:15 lift we're gonna take. I'm gonna split it with
Jackie,
Laura, actually.
are you flying Southwest or
Yep.
Delta?
Oh
Oh,
wait, Delta.
are
Sorry.
you in the Harvey Milk Terminal? Do you know?
I looked for the Harvey Milk Terminal. It didn't look like the Harvey Milk Terminal.
It might not
There,
be. That might not be where Delta hangs out. That's too bad.
right, that's your favorite terminal in all the
It's
terminals in all the
incredible.
world.
It's incredible,
That's
and you should fly out of Southwest or use Southwest next time you go to San Francisco so you can experience it.
well, and I'm going to San Francisco, coming to the Bay Area. I'm hoping to see my great nephew in Oakland over the weekend, but it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Sunnyvale at
Oh
Rooster T
yeah.
Feathers.
Mm-hmm.
And Carmen Morales is going to open for me, so we're going to carpool. We're just going to drive up.
You're gonna drive?
And
Oh.
yeah, because then we'll have the car, you know.
Yeah, that's not a bad drive. It's like 6 hours. I've done it twice in 2 days, so it's handleable.
Yeah,
I went to a Waffle House, Jackie. I went to
I
Waffle
saw
House
that. Did you
in
sit at the
Louisiana.
bar, or was there a tiny
No,
booth?
I got a table, and
Okay,
I was called Honey and Sweetie several times by the waitress, and I loved it.
excellent.
And then I tipped $10 on a $15 meal. Okay.
Did they run out after you and tell you that you had accidentally left $8
Well,
too much?
what happened was then I left my wallet in the bathroom, and she did run after me and got it to me.
Oh, that was very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So cheers to
That's
that
great.
gal. Exit 617 off of whichever flooded freeway I took. But yeah, so it was great, and I love the Waffle House. I don't know. It wasn't that, I got the big all-star American meal, and I had a little bit of everything and all of the waffle. The bacon was a lot, and I had
Yeah.
to ration it because it was like, this is gonna make me sick. It's so fried. It's so
Yeah.
full of oil.
The Perkins I ate at in Salt Lake City, I ordered just eggs and bacon, and they gave me 5 pieces of bacon. That's
I
insane.
That is insane. The Perkins, I think I was at a Perkins when I was doing my drives across 80. I was like driving to Chicago and back. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the first time I had a bread bowl, and I didn't know that was a thing. Perkins invented it. I'm like, this is the greatest restaurant ever because I love bread and I love soup, and the fact that you can make one ingredient into a holder for the other ingredient was astonishing to me. Wasn't how I was used to living.
Right. Perkins did not invent the bread bowl. This is what we know for sure. I love the idea that you're like, because I've made I've made comparable mistakes where you're like, I remember when I was a kid, you could either have butter on your toast or you could have jelly on your toast. And when I went to college, I lived at this sort of a youth hostel-y kind of co-op for my entire time at college. And the the cook would bake bread. And I saw one of my another freshman put butter and then jelly on top of it on a piece of
Yes.
toast. And I was like, what just happened? It blew my fucking mind because I'm the youngest of 6. We were not allowed both butter and jelly. Don't be ridiculous.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh my God, they made fun of me for, I believe, years. It still comes up. So
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to Roosters, though. I had a really fun set in front of Maria, even though me and our comic of the week, which we'll find out in 5 minutes, you guys.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yes, some sort of countdown to comic of the week, and we split the open spot, so it was 15 each,
Nice.
and
And one
the
show or
voice
two?
one show 960 people at the Palace of whatever Arts, completely sold
Damn.
out.
She's a fucking
And
draw.
yeah, and I got one of those Bert Kreischer photographs of when she got a standing ovation. So I just walked up behind her as she was on stage. I said, "Hey Maria," and she turned around and I was like, "Click, click,
Ha
click."
ha. That's great. That's cool.
Yeah, I said I'm going to send it to Melanie VC, and she goes, "Oh, she'll love that."
That's really cool.
Yeah, and but I got to try a couple of new lines. But I got to work on old material, or the new old material, right? To integrate the new lines into it, and that was fun. Tomorrow, which is Sunday, the day before this comes out, it'll already be over. I'm going to do Neil Hamburger's show at the Elysium. Elysian?
I went and saw Sarah Schaefer's show at the Elysium, and I saw his ad. So yes,
Oh,
I'm
good.
very
Yeah,
connected
yeah,
to this.
yeah. And then I'm doing a benefit for my friend Jennifer McLean's high school with Dana Gould on Tuesday
Hmm.
night in Sierra Madre. And and that's either Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh, Tuesday, because Monday is Andy's birthday. So the day this comes out, happy birthday, Andy Ashcraft. And I asked him what he wanted to do, and he wanted to go for sushi. So I picked a neat, like a cool sushi place, which isn't open on Mondays. So we're going to take him for his birthday dinner on Wednesday and then drive away on Thursday. And then I think I'm home for a week, and then I'm gone for like 2 weeks. I've decided to go to New York
Ooh,
for a week. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Maria to Fargo, and then we're going to Duluth, and we're gonna make the drive instead of flying through Minneapolis.
Hmm.
The drive from Fargo to Duluth, speaking of 1993, in February isn't ideal. But there it is, and because it's about 6 hours. Well, it's supposed to be 4.5, but it'll be 6, and that's fine. There's one show in Fargo, 2 shows in Duluth, and then from Duluth I'm gonna fly to Milwaukee and visit my dad for a couple of days. I've picked up a couple of sets. I'm gonna do a couple of guest sets, and maybe a theater show. Do what I can around Milwaukee, Chicago.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, I have a big week. Monday, I'm going to do WTF. I got invited over to
Do
Marin's
which one?
WTF. Marin.
Oh, WTF. Oh, good.
I'm going to see the new Glendale estate for the podcast room. I'm kind of excited.
All right.
And then I have a lot of podcasts coming up this week and a lot
Oh,
of
right, because you're
interviews
doing
and stuff.
promo. Yeah.
Because on Tuesday, my special drops. It's called Cis Woke Grief Slut. Now, if you are listening on Monday, if you were to go to my website, lauriekilmartin.com, you could order it now. For reasons that I don't understand, it helps. It pushes me into the people's feeds a little bit more if there's a lot of pre-sale. If you're gonna get it anyway, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lecture you, but you fucking should. Okay, we don't ask much, and we don't get much.
we get we
You deliver on what we ask, which is apparently not enough. And so I'm saying, if you are a regular listener to this podcast, we bust our ass to get it out an hour a week at great inconvenience, including this one. It's one in the fucking morning for me right now.
Great
Okay, so
inconvenience. Please
I'm
name
just
your
saying,
autobiography that.
what you could do that would be really cool, and it's, I would imagine, entertaining to you because you probably like
Our
comedy.
fans. Yes.
It's not a big ask. It's just buy or rent the special, and if you do it today, Monday, that would be awesome. But if you don't do it today, please do it, when it's from the
Sometime.
30th on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this weekend, Thursday through Saturday, I'm going to be at the Comedy Castle in Royal Oak.
Oh, that's
And
right. Outside Detroit.
I am expecting everyone within an hour's drive of Royal Oak, and that would be including all of Detroit, to make the drive and come out. I'm flying all the way out there. This will be the second of 3 flights to Michigan
Michigan.
in like
I
a
did
month
this
and a half.
last year. Yeah, because you just
And
did
because I'm
Grins,
doing
right?
Ann Arbor I'm doing Ann
Yeah.
Arbor in March. So yeah, it's a lot of Michigan. But this is the first time I've been to the Comedy Castle since the 90s, when I opened for John
Yep.
Joseph. The stage is full of keyboards. So I'm pretty excited. Come out for that.
Hmm.
And then I have other dates, of course, on the old website. But please, honestly, if you could pre-order or order my special, I would be very appreciative, and I think you'll like it anyway.
It's
Even
going to be
not
great.
doing me a favor. If you don't like me, please buy it, because you'll really hate me. You'll really
But
hate
you
me
like to
an
not like
hour
me.
later.
Yes. Hey, let's take a break
Okay.
and let's talk about our comic of the week. Sort of a comic who's been she started, I think she's from Los Angeles area, but she started, I believe, in Amsterdam
Wow.
and has moved back to the Los Angeles area and is living with her folks. But she's very funny, and she did 15 minutes. Like I said, do you want to go first or second? Let's flip a coin. And she said, well, what do you prefer? And I said, well, second. We should both prefer second. And she goes, oh, I think I'm making less money than you. Can I go second? And I said, oh, yes, you can go second.
What? Oh my
So I
God.
went first. But her name,
What a who is
gutsy
this?
stuff,
Who is
right?
this crafty witch?
Olivia Flood Wiley. Flood Wiley is her hyphenated last name. And what's her Instagram,
I have
Kyle?
to reopen it because I shut down all my files. Here we go. It's Olivia Flood at OLiviaFloodWylie. Go follow.
Okay. So just like it sounds. So good for her. And yeah, so the stuff was it was smart, it was interesting, it was personal, and yeah, she was great.
Cool.
Did a great job.
A technical thing.
And was not thrown at all to go up in front of 900 people. So
Yeah. So
okay.
where
So New
where are you
York.
going to work in New York?
Well, I'm hoping, what I did was I emailed the seller to say, hey, I'm actually coming to New York. Can I do the seller? I don't know how to submit. And so I emailed Esty, and she was like, well, the week before you get here, you tell me when you can play, and then I will then I'll put you up.
Cool.
So I'm hoping to do the cellar. I'm hoping to do the stand. I'm hoping to but what I did was I used all of my Chase Sapphire points to stay in a hotel on, I think, 50th and Park.
Ooh, nice. What subway are you near?
Yeah.
Which one?
That's not 123. That's 456.
Oh, that's okay. That'll get you down there. You're good. You're in good shape.
Yeah. That's good. And
that takes you right to Union
it used
Square, which is good for the stand.
okay,
Mhm.
yeah. And I think the cellar's just another, what, 6 or 8 blocks further,
Yeah,
or
yeah. It's not far.
okay. Yeah, Alexander Hamilton did it. I could do it. It'll be fine. And the yeah, so I'm gonna stay there, and then I'm coming back in March. I think I've got Vegas coming up after that, and I've got a couple other dates. Always looking for work, of course.
Jackie, what else is going on in
Yep.
comedy? I mean, are we going to list our dates the entire all the way out?
Well, what else is going? What else is going? Oh, here's what I heard is that a manager, no, a PA guy, not a manager, said this to a manager that we both know.
Yes.
And she said back to him, well, you wouldn't have said that to this guy. And the agent said, did you just play the woman card? And so
Wait.
it
I'm
was
very
heck,
confused.
yeah.
Say what to the guy you just I don't know who the second one.
Okay. Oh, you don't?
No.
Well, you win because he's a goddamn bore.
Oh. Okay.
So the essentially the guy just mansplained all over this stuff, and then complained that she wasn't doing enough for his clients, and because she's a manager and he's an agent, but he can't get his. He was my PA guy 25 years ago,
Okay.
30 years ago.
Okay.
And he's never been good at it. And so she kind of was just talking to him about, what he could perceived he could do and what he couldn't do. And he just kind of belittled her a little bit. And she said, that's not how you would have said it to, this other manager.
Oh, I see.
And then he said, did you just play the woman card on me, calling me a sexist? And it's a hacky fucking thing to say, is I guess what I'm saying in the 11th hour.
Well, Jack,
I'm going to grab a bottle of water. Yes.
I'll never get over that scandal that you just told us about. Shocking behavior in Hollywood.
I don't know a lot. I don't know what I've got to tell you then.
I don't know either. Like, all right, we're how are we close to 45 minutes yet?
No,
Oh my
we're at 40.
God.
We're just about.
So you wanna go to the vault? What do you have?
Well, let's.
What do you got any old stories?
Did you-
Anything? Did you ever meet Bill Hicks? You're in Texas.
I did not meet Bill Hicks, but
I never met him.
But I pulled into the Comedy Underground, the old Comedy Underground in Seattle, when he was working there. You ever have a memory where you're like, this is true, right? Because but I swear I have this memory in my head, and there's no reason. I don't know. So I swear I was finishing a Tribble run, and I was hovering around Seattle, and he was, maybe it was Bellingham. Did you ever work the Elephant and Castle in Bellingham, Washington?
No, I worked a casino there once.
Yeah, so maybe it was the Bellingham gig, and then I was coming down because I used to drive, like leave and just drive straight through the night. I did some. I was insane, and then
yeah.
But I stopped, and Bill Hicks, if I remember correctly, was like finishing up a set at the Underground in front of not many people. But I don't.
Right.
But also, I'm like, I don't remember meeting him. Did I just stay in the back like a creep and then slink away? So I would have. Maybe it didn't happen. I don't know anymore.
It's weird. It's weird when you think about, have you met everybody? Because there's so many, like I know that I've met some people that are real, right? Like I have enough memories of meeting Pauly Shore and working with him, Gallagher too, JJ Walker,
Yeah.
you
Yes.
know,
To the left.
and
Yes.
yeah. Is it Kevin Nealon who does the
That's so cool.
what's cool? The JJ Walker.
The JJ, just all those people. That's just like, they're all things I just think of as drawn on a mural somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a mural. That it JJ Walker told a joke. I did Atlantic City, and it was one of the worst gigs I've ever
Was
done
it
in my
Bob
life.
Kephart?
And
Bob Kephart?
Yep.
Yeah, with the Murphy bed.
Yep, comedy stop.
The Murphy bed in the condo. We talked about this. Those things are killers.
Right. We don't have to go back into the terror that is the Murphy bed and how the Murphy bed has clearly murdered at least 3 people in the existence of a fucking Murphy
All of them
bed.
comics.
And
Yes.
I've slept in Murphy beds. They don't fold up on you. You get to live your life. It's
They
amazing.
did.
And then
You were lucky. But anyway, so Atlantic City. Who did you work with at Atlantic City?
That was the comedy stop, and JJ Walker hosted, and I think I've told this story, but probably 6 years ago. So I think it's time to bring it back,
Yes.
you guys. It's how JJ Walker told a joke that I first heard in 1984, with the same punchline and the same reference, and I'm still mad that there's no new blind singer for us to reference, because it was a joke about ATM machines and drive-through and Braille and Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles.
Jose
And-
Feliciano. He's not a new one, but he is one of the historic blind musicians.
That would also not be driving and going through an ATM and using the Braille, because that's the joke.
Yeah.
And so JJ Walker told that joke, and it was the first time, because the audience is in Atlantic City, and I don't say this often. There's a box of rocks, and then there's those people. They're literally some of the dumbest people I've ever been in front of in my life.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I had not been warned. Rontowski used to do it 6 times a year. She'd do the comedy stop in Atlantic City, and then she'd do the comedy stop in Vegas or Reno. I forget.
Wow.
And so it was like 12 weeks a year of work, 12 to 16 weeks of work.
That's solid.
Right. But she told me, here's the trick. But she didn't tell me till Wednesday. And it started on a Monday, and it was a 7-day, 14-week show week. She said, you got to do 40 minutes of material in 25 minutes. You have to open with a lot of swearing. And I was like, oh. And so Jimmy J.J. Walker decided he wanted to MC
He always
those
did that
shows.
because he liked to MC. He always did Jimmy Walker and Friends, and then his friends would be like the comics that are just, that he's working with that week. Because that way he didn't have to do a ton of time. He could just do Jimmy Walker in between the comics. It's pretty smart.
Right.
You're not, if you know you're not like a Thunder headliner, why you might as well just do that. I don't know why Stormy Daniels didn't do that. Why not just go on the road?
Speaking of 6-year-old stories, Stormy Daniels.
Go on the road with a bunch of sexy comics, right? And the abs bearers, we know who they are, right?
There's a crop shirt out there. You're killing it, you ladies. You're killing it.
Go on the road,
women
have
folk.
Stormy go up and tell a couple dick jokes about Donald Trump, and then host the rest of it. Everyone rakes in the dollars. Like, literally, you need a rake to get all that money, okay? I don't know why it's ego. It's ego. It's so stupid. That would have been so stupid if she wasn't so fucking stupid.
I will say, Jimmy J.J. Walker, which I would like to always refer to him by all 3 names. He did not have a lot of ego. He had a lot of certainty that he wasn't going to say dynamite and that he was going to charge for his headshot.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 things he knew for sure.
Good.
And and everybody was like, come on, say it. And he's like, nope, not saying it. First of all, I'm 70. Leave me alone. And
I
didn't mind that. And he had great stories off stage.
Yeah, I bet. I worked the comedy stop with Uncle Dirty, and he was
as advertised.
Wow. I was going to say, catchy name. How was he clean? And did he work blue?
I think he had props as well. So he had it all.
Wow.
And the crowd loved him, and they didn't love me, but I didn't have Ron Towski's advice at the time. Yeah.
No, they hated me. They hated me so much that Gephardt, the manager from the Monday, Tuesday was swapped out on Wednesday. And so the Wednesday guy had to tell me that they were cutting my time.
Oh, right.
First time in 30 years that I'd ever had my time
Wait, was
cut.
this recent?
And no, it was 15, 16 years ago.
Well, you haven't
long
been
time
doing
ago.
comedy 45 years, Jackie. It would have been the first time in 15 years, right?
Oh, yeah, I suppose because I started at 84, so it would have been, and it was probably in 2004 or
Yeah.
2007.
All right.
Yeah. So long time, but it was I literally called Rondowski crying and I said, "Am I a hack?" And she was like, "What the fuck has happened?" Because no, you're fine. And I was like, they got my time. And then she said, "Oh, we should have talked before. You have to do 40 minutes in 25 minutes and you have to open with swearing." And so now I know if I ever go back to Atlantic City, which I don't want to, but nobody's offered. Let's take that into account.
I go anywhere if the money's good enough, you know, and sometimes
I'll give it a shot.
My standards of what good money is fluctuate depending on my living situation. I'm sure when I'm 75
Wow.
and I'm
Yes.
and I'm
The
living on
standards
Social
of
security, $500 will be enough to get me. But now I need a little bit more.
right. Yeah. How much? Yeah. What good money is does change with exactly how much money you need.
Yes.
We are we're stand-up comedy. You didn't know this. We're an Upton Sinclair novel. And we're doing what we can to get the meatpacking company to pay us a fair wage. Because we're the meat.
You know,
Sadly.
Jackie, there were so many young comics and older comics, but young in the business at this festival,
Okay.
Q&A. And it's weird because I'm like, I have no answers. I don't know if there's going to be late night in 5 years from now, you know, like I don't
Right.
do not know what the business is going to be like from 5 years from now. But last night, it was last night after.
Were they asking? Were they
Yeah.
asking what the business might be going?
No, they asked about packets and late night and stuff like that, and you know what you would do in this, you know, and a comic. They did a roast battle after the 9:30 show, and so one of the you know, they battle. The audience picks a winner. So one of the guys the audience didn't pick. Although I'm going to say it seemed like a tie to me audience wise, but you know, you got to make a pick. He followed me out and he was going to his car and he's driving right back to Missouri from Paris, Texas. And I was like,
Wow.
Like I remember doing okay, I did those drives, but I just wanted to get home. And I feel like these comics now, they don't even have a choice. Like, you know, they don't have a hotel and they can't afford a hotel. And so they just have to leave immediately. It's really fucking hard.
Yeah. I mean, even established, like if you're headlining B and C rooms and you're still featuring a lot.
Yeah.
You got to figure out there's people that are still sleeping in their cars.
Oh yeah. And somebody asked about like, you know, do you take openers and stuff? And I'm like, no, I can't, I don't make enough to supplement the income of a feature. And I can't.
Right. And it's not fair. And the money isn't enough.
Ask someone,
so.
Yeah, I would, even if someone says, oh, I'll make no money. No, I can't be part of that. I'm sorry. And the other thing.
Andy Erickson. Yeah.
Local comics, you know, really need, like, there's so many comics that are willing, you know, and every local scene has a lot of really good comics. It's just an awful industry now for when you're at a certain level, you know, and it's either
Yeah.
The only solution is to all of a sudden have 1 million followers, and now you're headlining everywhere, and you barely have been featuring before that. You know what I mean? Like it's not the old stepping the ladder where you get 30 minutes and then you get 45 minutes and then you get an hour and you build it up that way. It's just frenetic, and it doesn't make any sense. And I don't know. It's I feel bad.
It's certainly changing. Yeah, it's certainly changing at a rapid rate, and there's no way to speculate. I mean, all you can do is keep doing stand-up comedy and hope that somebody either cares or you continue to like to do it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if either of those things happen, you kind of win. And that's all there is to it, you know. Hey, let's take another break real quick.
So, like I told these guys, I was like, you're always going to want to do stand-up comedy. Like, this will never leave you. And so remember that one day you're going to be old. And what can you do things now to make your old life okay so that you can still do stand-up? You know what I mean? Like, you and I, we know people our age, or maybe a little bit in the generation ahead of us, that are like nearly destitute. There's a bunch of comics I know out of San Francisco. I'm like, I don't even know how this person's eating. I don't get it. I don't know how they're living.
Because there's been because they haven't had W-2s, and they haven't put into the Social Security system.
Well, you still put in when you put in as a freelancer. You pay taxes as a freelancer, and you pay into Social Security and all that stuff. But a lot of them, I don't know. I think with stand-up, you think you're going to be famous, so you don't worry about this stuff. You're like, I'll be fine because I'm going to hit the jackpot, and so I don't have to worry about that stuff. But most of us don't. And so you have to accept that you might be, it's hard to get into the brain of someone who's starting comedy, because you have to be that delusional to start it. But also, like, I remember, I've said this before, I think too, but Greg Warren was featuring for me at Dayton, at Jokers in Dayton a long time ago. And he had a condo.
Okay.
Like, he worked for Procter & Gamble, and he owned a condo. And I'm like, what? I couldn't fathom that a comedian would own property. But it was really smart. And he was smart.
Right.
He built slowly, but he's doing great now. And I mean, someone was like, what are you doing, Jackie? I can tell when you're working.
I'm typing names of people who own condos and own rental properties.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Because and some of that is generational wealth, and some of that, you know, and not fancy generational wealth, just normal, hey, you know, crazy.
Well, I'm saying like, when you get your big break as a comic, some sort of break, you know, put that money either away, put it in an IRA, or put it someplace, or into a
It's why I never wanted to quit my day job. It's why I kept not quitting my day job, is because I couldn't face the idea of not having enough money for rent. And then I got the Comedy Central special. 15 grand, Laurie.
That's incredible.
15 grand.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you don't quit your day job now, you're never going to quit. And so I quit, and I was going to do any number. I was going to treat myself right with like 5 grand of it. I was going to take a third, and because 10 grand I saved for, like, sort of, at the time, that was almost a year and a half of rent, because I had amazing rent control in the Valley in the early 2000s. Yeah.
Wow.
That's over. 1-bedroom apartment with off-street parking for $450.
Oh my God.
That's the stuff of legends. Yeah. That's nuts. I know. I should have mad about you. I should have kept it. And or you know how Ron kept that apartment in San Francisco for decades?
Lynch.
Yep.
Yeah. Did he give it up?
Yeah. Some comics broke it. They broke the availability. They did something that made them
Oh,
take it away from them.
bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, he was pretty disappointed
Well,
for the next generation of comics who need rent control.
yes. Yeah. My point is, or was, you don't have to wait till you're older. Like, do it as soon as you can. And, assume that you're going to be not as successful as you wanted to be, which is,
Okay,
antithetical to
just
everything.
plan for your future.
Yeah.
Have some sort of you have to the plan can't be I'm going to win the lottery.
Exactly. But that's
That
how
is a
so many
terrible
comics
plan.
think, including myself.
I don't know. Okay.
I mean, that's how I used to think too. I was like, why are you buying a condo?
I never thought that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of comics think like that, maybe it was just
Yeah.
our generation, but, or I don't know.
Or maybe it's just a lot of comics you knew. The comics that I know, like, were all from Minnesota and Wisconsin. So there were a bunch of very conservative, fiscally conservative. They weren't you fancy West Coast comics. Mary Mack had no plan that she was going to be living in a getting a sprawl anywhere. So,
Well, I think we
same
all,
with Chad Daniels
we all were going to move to LA, which was just down the road, and become famous. And it honestly, for a long time, it's like everyone was like, you just got your 7-minute set that said who you were, and then Chuck Lorre or some equivalent would craft a sitcom around you, and that would be that, right?
Well, it's that's a West Coast dream. That never came out of any of the comics that I hung out with. I mean, some of them wanted it, but they didn't. Like, even Pete Lee, he's from Janesville, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I remember one year he told me he got 95 colleges.
Wow. Horrendous.
Yeah. So in 5 months, he had to go to 95 different college shows.
Right. He just did
I think that was a year.
Well, okay, I mean,
Fallon tonight.
So yeah, it's not just West Coast comics that want to be famous, Jackie. That's a ridiculous thing to say. I mean, there's plenty of Midwesterners that want it too.
No, they want it, but they don't. But I think that they're the ones I know anyway are more conservative fiscally than what you're talking about. I don't know. I mean, I know that but the thing is you've always socked it away too. But that's because you had a kid and you all of a sudden got a real wake up call, I think.
Yes. I mean, I didn't make any real money until after I had a kid. And then I was like, oh, all right. So I immediately started doing a college fund. And then I had an accountant. I don't have an accountant. I need a new accountant. But at the time, he was like, if you put this much away, you don't have to pay taxes on it. And I was like, I just put as much as I could away every single year, so I wouldn't have to pay extra taxes. That's it. I wasn't spending it on anything.
Right.
But
and you had good advice, yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just I think you.
So that's great advice to. What was the seminar you were doing?
It was just a Q&A at the club. At the club in Paris, but
so not a seminar, just a
it was very informal. It was listed as a seminar. It was very informal.
Oh,
but yeah, like I think if you get good at living like on scraps, it's hard to change. But at some point you'll be old and you can't live that way. And so if you could learn to, start padding, at putting a mattress, down, don't sleep on the concrete all the time. Like, build up, get a bed frame one day and then a duvet.
Yeah. You deserve a bed frame, you guys.
Yeah.
They're $15 to $35.
Like,
you deserve to be off the ground.
Yeah.
There's ants, you guys.
Oh, and
get
worse.
Up off the ground.
And worse.
Yeah, and worse. Hey, it's been an hour.
Okay.
I got to go to bed.
Bye.